Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, I'm J-Wigs, and welcome to the 21st Faction Challenge, where I am looking at the points of interest that you've created for the lore of Illah. Right, a few things to note before we get started. As some of you may have already noticed, we have a new currency for the livestream overlay called Shards. This is basically just a replacement for money. The commands changed, and we're also getting some fancy block links showing up in the live stream overlay, which is looking really cool. Let me quickly disable my shot, make sure everything is going. Everything looks lovely. Right. What we're going to be doing for this live stream, for this judging challenge, is we're going to be going through, I think there's around 75 of these points of interest that I'm going to be going through. We're going to break these up into 3 different streams because there's quite a lot, and I don't think I can get it done in just this one and just the next one. So we're going to go through around 20 to 25 a day. If I look a little bit more tired than usual, it's not because I'm bored with your submissions. It's because I'm actually a little bit more tired than usual. I'm feeling a little bit drowsy, but I popped some tea before this live stream to get started. So this live stream might be a little bit shorter. It might be an hour and 15 minutes maximum. So without further ado, oh yeah, right. How am I judging this? Right. I've got my fancy notebook here, super high tech. Basically, I'm going to be giving you points. I'm going to be giving 1 point to 3 points, depending on the submission, depending on how I feel, how nice it is, how coherent it is. I don't know. I just judge and award points randomly. And then at the end of these 3 live streams, we're going to be turning these points that you're getting into blocks for your faction to hopefully use their faction war, which has been said that it's going to happen soon for the longest time, but it actually is happening soon. I'm finishing up with the current update, and then after that, we're going to dive right into smaller updates as well as faction war stuff as well. Right. Without further ado, T, am I secretly a Brit? Maybe. I just like T a lot. 3 streams with a letter and submission. I'm really glad I have a 4. There's a limit to the number of submissions you could have, because there are quite a number. For all these reading ones, there are quite a lot. I have my cup full of water over here. Beautiful cuppy. Yes, let's go ahead and let's pop into Discord, and you have your live stream stuff as well. Wow, there's some really cool blocklings. These guys look really cool. Anyway. I'm just going to write down, start getting awarding points Prime, Strike, and Nova. Also, I will be keeping track of your normal points. I will also be keeping track of these penalty points. And at the end of these couple of live streams, the faction with the most penalty points gets 1 extra penalty point added. Basically, what the penalty is going to be, if there's any need for a preference, like positioning preferences or order preferences or choosing preferences, the faction with the least penalties is going to get first priority. They're going to get dibs on everything first with the least penalties, basically. Right. We are going to get started. Right. I'm the first one who started off with the Belia or Belia. Not quite sure how you pronounce that, even though I came up with this. The Belia Research Facilities, depending on where you hail from. The Belia Research Facilities are a prominent Nova Alliance research facility. I'm not biased towards Nova, it's just this has been a part of the background lore for the longest time, probably a year now. These guys have been around in my head. So I thought, might as well get it out here. The BRF consists of 7 islands clustered around in a secluded region of Nova territory. The most prominent of these islands are the Belia Research Reactor, the Belia Research Core, and the Belia Research Lab. Rumors say they're weaponizing blue blobs of goo to incorporate in their next wave of attacks against the other factions. I wonder what game that could be. The Belia Research Facilities were destroyed when raiders strategically overloaded the BRR, causing it to explode in a purple firestorm visible for miles. This happened during the Great Faction Wars, which is, in the time period it's currently happening right now, before the rise of the Dark Order. The Nova suspect the Strike Coalition had something to do with it, since a few of their top secret weapon designs somehow ended up in the Strike's hands shortly afterwards. Right. J-Wigs, add color changing skin color and eye. Yes, I mean, technically there are already colors that change colors, which my eye currently has. The Blockling eye is able to be bought. Everything you see is able to be bought. All of my stuff is able to be bought, except all my stuff is like super expensive, so chances are you're not going to be buying it anytime soon. And once someone tries to copy me, I'm just gonna create something even more exclusive for myself and raise the price to like 2,000. So yeah, that's what it's gonna be. So once someone's finished copying me, I'm just going to make a new guy. Right. Is there a rainbow one? No, there's not yet a rainbow one. But a rainbow one would, I really should. I'm gonna use the rainbow one. Rainbow one is mine. I've called dibs on it. Right. So that's the Belia research facilities. Yeah, I mean, I was gonna rate it, but it's mine, so of course it's amazing. Yeah, next one is the Fort Valden. The Fort Valden, from Illah 9 from the Strike faction. This retired fort was a pivotal part of wars long past from before the factions. The fort's about 11.2 square kilometers in size. It's 11.12 square kilometers. It's very precise. It covers over a large underground network of tunnels that help to move soldiers around the fort and hold rations. Scholars are unsure to the maximum capacity of the cellars due to the large majority of them being collapsed due to battle, but they estimate that it had enough food stores for 2 years for about 28,000 men. That's a big island. Others say it was being enough food, it was even more being enough food for 3 years for 36,000 soldiers. That's like 100,000 soldiers worth of food. Yeah, per year. The walls of the fortress are about 14 meters high, reinforced by soil backing. The entire fortress is surrounded by a trench that's 3.5 meters wide, 7 meters deep, with spikes at the bottom. Very nice. The trench has stone walls that get wider at the bottom, about 1 meter, to make it harder to get out. If you don't get stabbed. If you don't get stabbed. Oh, that's right, because of spikes. Historical records found the latrine pits would empty into the trench to make it more dangerous to infantry. However, this cannot be seen as the latrine was covered by dirt. Although most of the trench has largely collapsed, they're still placed in fairly good condition. This sounds like a really old medieval castle. This sounds like a really nice old medieval castle. Yeah, I like it. I'm gonna give this one, I think there's some good ones. I'm gonna give this one a 2. I'm gonna give this one a 2 for this strike. I like the fort. Looks cool. It's nice. It's ancient. It's ruined. Very, very, very cool one. Very cool idea. And I like the name as well. In a lot of these submissions, the name is going to be very crucial, whether I like it or not. Because names, the places and names are pretty important. Next one is Alchem. Did I come up with Alchem? I feel like I came up with that name. Right. Wait, before I go on, let me read chat. Good thing I'm going to make Blockwing. Oh, wow. SMP thinks he can make a Blockwing more expensive than me. I doubt it. Is there any chance of getting a colorful thing? It depends on the shop. That's a very big range of estimation for the Medieval Castle. Yes, that is a very big estimation for Medieval Castle. With the Blockwing update in live, will there be a rainbow changing color? Yes, the rainbow is only for me. Right. Okay, next one. Next one is Alchem. Pronounced alchemy without the Y, which is Alchem. Yeah, just a run-of-the-mill Nova-owned town. Neighborhoods, skyscrapers, a bit of research buildings, one central island, 4 to 5 smaller fragmented islands around it. Except there's a quite notable event that happened during the city. About 120 to 130 years after the collapse, there was some sort of gruesome creature that originated from Alchem. Its origins seem to be from unlucky cellular mutations, according to the man himself who owned the infested island. Blank, 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 blank. The creature would grow to several times the normal island size and eventually engulf the entirety of Alchem. Around 10 years after hacking and slashing away at it, finally shut it down. In the span of more than 2 years, Alchem was completely rebuilt, surprisingly similar to what it once was. Now, I believe this creature, was this creature reference? This is Isaac. I believe Isaac's the one who created the log of a bunch of people. I believe this is the same town where it got overgrown by the infestation. Cool idea. Like, it's just a normal town. I'm gonna give this one a 1. It's not particularly super standing out, but it gives some good context. 1, I'm reading too far up. Oh, I see. Okay, I'm gonna have to bring this down just a little bit. There we go. You can see that now. Okay, gotta mark where you all can see and where you all can't see. Okay, well, yeah, I'm gonna give that one a 1. Next one we have is, because I also can't go down too far, so I want to make sure you can see it. Right. Next one is Susume. Nobody knows how it should be pronounced, so everyone just says whatever they feel like. Sorry, Sumi, I can't pronounce your name. The Susume is a massive Zwayland. What is a Zwayland? I'm not sure if this is a meme or this is just another word for an island. It's a massive, I'm just going to say it's some sort of island that's somewhere between roughly an oval and a heart-shaped in its overall shape. has a diameter of 10 kilometers at its smallest and 30 kilometers at its widest. In the middle of the Zwealand is the snowtop mountain reaching 9 kilometers into the air. From the top to bottom, Zwealand is around 25 kilometers tall. Wow, that's a big island. The Susume is named after the strike researcher who found something amazing at the core of the Zwealand. Huge vein of ludicrite. Ooh, cool. Ludicrite, from which ludicrum, a military resource that's used in the production of super durable weapon chambers, can be gained. Oh, I like that. I like ludicrite and ludicrum. It sounds a little bit crazy if you get what I'm getting at. The problematic part is that the vein is interplanar, which fixates the Zwealand in place like a gargantuan anchor. The Zwealand is deep within the territories of the second largest faction within the Strike Coalition, where the ludicrite is slowly refined. The Zwealand always had a few housing farms on it, which the strike forces don't interfere with. Other than that, there's a natural cave which has been expanded over the years into a medium-sized mine. The small village is known for its snow thaw beer that is said to be delicious, and it makes your mind melt into a state of pure bliss. Ludicrum is a valuable military resource and quite rare. The refining process takes a long time and has to be supervised almost in its entirety. The actual method is only known by a handful of people in each faction and is kept a close secret. It's mainly used as an alloy component in the making of long-range and artillery weapon chambers. While pure ludicrum is extremely strong, it's unaffordable even for those that cannot produce it. The Strike Research Facility, which blank, is currently importing unusual amounts of ludicrum and arbellum. Rumor has it they're trying to build chemical lasers, though the source for that is unknown. Ooh. Fake metal with 140 times the durability, but no specification on its strength. I mean, 140 times more durable than steel is, I guess, a specification on its strength. And so, basically, ludicrum is pretty much a vibranium. It's like a mini vibranium. Super, super strong, but basically unaffordable to anyone who makes it. Basically, not enough to make giant killer weapons out of. I like it. I really much like this. I'm giving this one a 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm giving this one a 3 because I like how you're incorporating new elements. And right, I need to start writing down some of the other non-points of interest areas that I can use possibly in the future, like ludicrite and ludicrum. Where is it? Is it ludicrum? Ludicrum. As well as we have arabellum. Arabellum. Simply running out of letters. Yep, I see. You still want to know who's blocking is who's. I believe if you say something in the chat, your name comes up over your blocking. Next one is by Insignific from the Strike faction. The Deep Dark. The Deep Dark is an area you can find if you go too deep, where you see massive landmasses of rock floating in all sorts of creatures, and of course island size. You will rarely see anything from bits and pieces of rock and some holes where if you even try to see, you'll blind yourself. But said holes contain special materials that really shouldn't exist. These holes are formed by pieces of the Cortex falling back in. So I'm guessing this is a very low altitude in comparison to the Cortex, relative to the Cortex. It's common to see a lot of lava when digging deeper. Said rock that is above the lava is a valuable material, considering that the rock on the top are still solid despite the temperatures. You may ask, why doesn't anyone try to mine the stuff down there? 1, there's dangers of going that deep, and 2, there are things that live down there that are out to kill you. Secondly, materials are also very hard to shape, and the time required is lengthy due to the abnormal shapes, and taking out pieces not being a possibility due to the time, and going down there in the first place is very hard because you start to melt when you're at this depth, which is why most are just small remnants which happen to float up. I'm not exactly sure. This seems like it's trying to describe the Cortex as well as an island or a place on the Cortex, possibly. And I guess the Cortex isn't exactly, the Cortex isn't exactly molten just yet. I know I had that image of a molten Cortex, but the Cortex has cooled down since the second Cortex explosion, which there are 2. It's a little bit confusing because I'm still working on the lore. But all that aside, since you don't know the full area of the lore, I'm gonna give this one a 1. I'm giving this one a 1, primarily because of the lack of details. It's mainly just saying it's deep and it's dark and there's stuff down there. And there's lava as well. There's a lot of valuable materials, but it lacks specificity, which I very much like. But still, it's what 1, and a 1 isn't bad actually. I may be giving out 0s or even penalty points to some of these, so 1 is pretty good. 1 is still pretty good. The Cortex instantly kills you. The Cortex has a lot of gravity, so yeah, most of the time it does kill you. That's why you can't. That's why, okay, if the Cortex is here, like a very large portion of the sky is uninhabitable because gravity is so strong. And then like the upper regions, the upper realms is where most people are able to live. But anything below a certain point is just way too much gravity for anyone to even live there. Right, the next one is the Swarlop Island. I like this already. Swarlop Island. Name is self-explanatory. A paradise which anyone would probably die of cuteness over, the Swarlop Island. This is a popular tourist attraction for obvious reasons. People often flip up the phone space with the sheer quantity and pictures of videos they take here. Coupled with the countless Swarlops, the island's nature is beautiful, with all types of flora, ranging from shrubs to flowers to trees. The island's actually 3 separate islands, connected by a bridge, with a man-made centerpiece holding them together. The island's Swarlop population is a steady 452, which only fluctuates by a maximum of 20 Swarlops. Some of the notable locations inside the Swarlop Island are the Celery Forest, self-explanatory. You can find a chubby Swarlop in this area. The Mud Pit. Some kinds of Swarlops can be seen rolling in the Mud Pit. Keep a distance. The Playground. A man-made playground swamp for the Swarlops, consisting of wooden towers and bridges. The Spiral Zone. Swarlops specifically pack up in this spot, but nobody knows why. Now this is cool. Is my ping for streams? But seriously, JWig's ping for streams. Oh, I didn't ping you all for the streams. Yes, my ping game is lacking. The Swarlop Island is really cool. I like it. I'm giving this one a 2. I'm giving Nova 2 points for this one. I like Swarlop Island, even though during the wars, I'm not exactly, I mean, I guess all of the islands, I think every single faction can agree that there are certain things they don't do. Like, they don't mess with Swarlop Island. I mean, during the wars, tourist attractions and tourists, you know, they might dwindle down. There's not many people wanting to, like, tour around during the middle of a war. But I think they can all agree there's absolutely no strategic advantage to taking over Swarlop Island. So, I like it. Very nice. Next one we have is the Kyvian Runes. Ooh, this sounds really cool. Make sure you can see this. Yes, you can see this still. The Kyvian Runes is an island of unknown origin with large granite rocks arranged in a circular pattern. Okay, got it. On the inside face of all the rocks is a single rune that is unique to each rock. Every year on the solstices, the runes glow from the rock but are intangible. During this time, the islands are surrounded by a huge sphere that is a deep purple similar to that of the night sky and opaque. From the outside, the sphere is clear, yet visible, and takes on a glass-like appearance. If looking from the outside, the island appears empty, with nothing on it except for the rocks. It's unknown what its use is, or potential is, so the public isn't even allowed to step foot on the island. Some researchers theorize that the island is a portal to which nobody has the key to exit, but the most common opinion is it's a rudimentary shield used to protect something. Located in a group of ancient islands which have signs of previously harboring life, the factions agreed on a non-aggression pact and declared them a demilitarized zone. Even though I do think that, you know, during a war, it's these types of places. I mean, yes, you agree that it's a non-aggression pact and demilitarized zone, but if there's something unknown about it with large glowing runes that could possibly be a shield for something, that's most likely going to be a point of contention, mainly because you don't know what it could do. It could help you out a lot, and so I can see this very much, even though, you know, demilitarized zone, huh? It's a kind of, everyone agrees that we're not going to attack it, but it's definitely, they're all suspicious of each other for wanting to take this over. I like this. It's funny how I'm making up lore as we go just to, like, help, just, I don't know, to support you, I guess. I'm not exactly sure what I'm doing. I'm making stuff up as well. But yeah, it's cool. I like it. I'm giving this one 2. I'm giving this one 2. Very nice. Next one we have is the Silver Forest. Ooh, cool. We're just turning I's into Y's now. I like it, just like the spike. It's the Silver Forest. A congregation of misty clouds bordering a veil of thick green fog far away somewhere in the outskirts of the realms, far away from any city. There seems to be no island mass, but the illusions draw one close of land and trees. It is here that some say the mystical Axoi harbor their home, something that brings them there, a place thinned by mirages and the sweet-smelling scent of pine. However, the flora is relentless. If there was any land, the undergrowth would have covered them like moths to a flame, and the ashen caves would have swallowed up the earth. Thus, no inhabitants have ever lived, or lived for that matter. Or lived for that matter. I see. If one ventured deep enough, they would never come back. The Silvers are a series of forest-gladed lands that resemble the islands of the realms. They are abundant with a plethora of flora and fauna alike. Wow, that's a mouthful. And other creatures such as the mythical Axoi. These large islands appear scattered throughout the forest. However, they are heavily camouflaged and little know of their existence. The viewable Axoi here are seemingly larger than the outer world variants. These look much fiercer, with rougher skin and sharper scales, some growing larger than the typical 3-arm lengths, almost dragon-like. Most have developed a camouflage-like ability that allows them to disappear into thin air. There's always a merchant druid that wanders these parts, offering to trade a bottle of everlasting, ooh, that sounds cool, and other goods of the place. Apparently it's a potion of immortality, but we know that it's just the tale. Must be a great source of energy within the forest that allows its inhabitants to gain extraordinary growth and flourish, contrasted to the barren outskirts of the outside. The mist causes the air to be mythically clean and sweet-smelling. The source of energy is seemingly the cause of the mist. Any living being that breathes are enchanted with visions, although this is the most we could ever know of. This is cool. This is really cool. I like it. Because actually, if I think about it, right, if the Axoi have, where does it say? If the Axoi are much fiercer with rougher skin and sharper scales, this usually happens. I mean, if you get something like this usually means that they need to defend themselves from something much, much bigger than them, which I'm thinking is probably the thing that is causing the energy. So I'm thinking these Axoi, either they are under the control of this larger creature that's even more terrifying than they are, and in order to survive, they need to have these rougher skin and sharper scales. Or that's what I'm thinking. And there's the great source of energy, which is some sort of creature that is living within the Silver Forest. Yeah, this is cool. Even though I'm not sure about the druid. Probably a merchant that wanders. Bottle of Everlasting sounds cool. I'm just going to write it down because it does sound pretty cool. Bottle of Everlasting. It sounds like some RPG item that you'd get for a quest of some sort. Yeah, I like it. I'm going to give this one 2 points as well. Have we had a 3-pointer? I'm not sure. I can't even remember. We've only been going for something like 20 minutes or something. Not long. I don't think I can't remember. Anyway, next one we have is from it's called the Shui Shwawa. Oh boy, you wanted me to say that, didn't you? It's the Shi Shwawa. I'm just going to call this I don't know. I don't know if I can say that every single time. I'll try though. Similarly to her brother, Susume, nobody knows how it should be pronounced. Well, thank you. I'm just going to call it the she. So everyone just says whatever they feel like. Perfect. I can just say whatever I feel like. The island of Shi is close to the island of Su, less than 100 meters apart. Ooh, very, very close. And is known for its massive snow thaw crop fields. Snow thaw. I'm going to write that down. Snow thaw. What is snow thaw? Oh, snow thaw is a grain. Wow. Snow thaw is a grain plant similar to wheat or barley. I'm gonna write grain. But grows red. Ooh, I should write down red. Grows red stems and purple grain. Oh, red stems, purple grain. No one knows why and no one cares why. All they care about is the snow thaw beer it's made into. I see. Most of the islands consist of large plains of grass with some of the small wooded areas. areas. Smaller than the Susume, it's only about 10 kilometers tall, named after the Sue's little sister, who discovered a smaller but substantial deposit of ludicrite at the island's core. Again, the natives aren't interfered as they excavate the ludicrite out. It's interplanar like the Susume. I still don't know what that means. So its orientation and relative location to the Susume never changes, which is quite convenient. While some people grow snowthaw in Susume, it's mostly grown on the Shi. The larger breweries are on Su, but there's still a small brewery on Shi that doesn't produce as much as Su, which is mostly the small population of farmers, and tourists go to Su. Due to the short distance between islands, there are occasional spectacles where you could go and watch snowthaw crops get sent from Shi to Su with catapults. Ooh, catapults, that's a very... You know what? It needs to be a trebuchet, because, you know, trebuchets are better than catapults, but... I'll let that one slide. The crops are stuffed into clear balls, which are then launched into large catching basins. It's less efficient than sending small islands back and forth, so it's more of a weekly event for traveling tourists to watch. Planes are like partial dimensions. Okay. Still not quite sure what that's supposed to mean, but I'm gonna give this one a 1. Actually, you know what? I don't know. It's like a 1.5. Trebuchets are the best. Yes, they are. I'm gonna give this one a 1.5. I'm just gonna have like a little half over here. Yeah, 1.5 for this. I didn't really think I could do a half, but yeah, I'll give it 1.5. Next one we have is the Vrafili. The Vrafili. Okay. Pronounced in 3 segments, Rafiali. Oh, it's the Rafiali. Okay. Is one of Strike's most important assets. Okay. This small city has an important role for the coalitions. It produces 1/3 of all the energy consumed. How it achieves this was a genius. A weird anomaly only found in this location causes a massive amount of air to circulate upwards. The speed of this draft can reach 120 kilometers per hour. The airflow is highly predictable, where it becomes stronger in the winter and weaker during the warmer seasons. Its area is over 5 square kilometers, with a smaller updraft reaching 60 kilometers per hour, around 20 square kilometers. The coalition just recently had realized the potential of gain in this area with I can't speak. With recent technological innovations, I need some water. That's what it is. With recent technological innovations, they created large turbo blades. These could be attached to artificial islands and use the kinetic energy of the draft to produce energy. Ooh, I like this. With it also being located near the center of the coalition, it has a low chance of being raided, and it became an essential trade hub within. The city's current population is around 600,000 citizens, but in the coming years could reach over 1.3 million. The current GDP of the area has risen by a lot in the span of 6 years. The amount of excess energy gained from the power plant has led Strike into switching to energy weapons, even after another major power location was ransacked by Nova. This is referring to that time from the faction stories where it was I believe there was a facility about to get raided. I think that's what this one's referring to. The Vrafili, am I saying that right? Vrafili, yep. Vrafili has also become a major trade hub along with the main power supply of the coalition. Almost every good can be found within the trade hubs. With this city is a variety of different languages and goods, from tropical fruits and the rare north, the rare metals from the south. With it being more important, is north and south referring to like direction here or like altitude? Because I guess, what would you call like up and down? Is that north and south? I don't know. With it being a more important part of Strike's infrastructure, other factions may see it as a risky opportunity. I agree, a risky opportunity indeed. I didn't read the last sentence in your submission. Oh, well, it's okay, I don't need to. Basically, it's a wind farm. Yes, we had a wind turbine in your town, but yeah, this is a wind farm. I like this one a lot, especially because definitely one of the most important assets to generate energy. I like this. I think I'm gonna give this one. I think I'll give this one a 2.5. So that's gonna make up for the other half from the previous one. So that's basically 3. So very nice from the Strike. I like this. I like the idea of the entire wind farm, especially with updrafts. That's another cool thing I'm going to write down on my side here. Updrafts, very important. Yeah, 120 kilometer per hour winds will blow your house apart. I'm assuming that you've come up with Strike have come up with some way to make islands into massive wind farms, especially with updrafts as well. Right, the next one by Sume is the Great Fog Wall. The Great Fog is a phenomenon that moves through all the realms. Okay, I see. It's massive, larger than any. I'm assuming that this is just an island at this point. Massive, larger than any island ever discovered. The actual size is unknown. Should an unsuspecting island be caught by the Great Fog, there are multiple things that can happen, which seems unrelated to any known factors. Some islands vanish for days or even weeks. Some very few appeared after many years. Those that appeared look like they've been uninhabited for decades or hundreds of years. Yet some appear the same day they entered, not even the food having gone bad. Those that enter with intent seem to be rejected more often than others. Those that are rejected simply fly out of the other side of the fog, seemingly unrelated to which side they entered from. Some that came back alive after successfully entering the Great Fog tell of peaceful islands inside, with enough food for whole fleets, great plains, forests, rivers, and mountains. Oddly, the islands are seemingly uninhabited, less for some animals. There are ruins of houses in some places, but often too derelict to inhabit. There seem to be a few man-made islands floating around here and there, but their technology seems to be decades behind, in some cases even using steam power and having large wooded propellers. Feelings of discord seem to be washed away in the gentle sunlight of these places. The few artificial islands that float around all seem to have the weapons disassembled or deactivated. Some other known characteristics of the Great Fog is that no one can divert it or block it. It seems to move around by forces unknown and is completely resistant to both wind and blockades. Further, one hatred for another enters the fog and enters sometime later. Their hatred has most often turned into a mere dislike and in some cases is completely dropped. How did J-Wigs just say oh, it's derelict, not derelict. Yeah, it's derelict. Did I read that wrong? I thought I saw an I in there. Anyway. Yeah, it's derelict. I think it's derelict. As a native English speaker, I'd be embarrassed if I'm saying it wrong. But anyway, Great Fog Wall. I'm giving this one a 1. It's a cool submission. But I think that there's way too much mystery around it. I mean, there's a lot that could. It's a rather far-fetched idea. It's a cool idea. It's a really cool idea. But it's I feel there's something fancy going on with this place that I feel it's a little bit too far-fetched for the lore, but it's a good idea. Next one we have is by Nova, and so far it's just Strike and Nova. In fact, all of the submissions we'll be looking at today will be just Strike and Nova. Prime, we'll get to Prime tomorrow. Prime will have their moment. There are plenty of Prime submissions to talk about as well. The next one we have is the Novant Collider facility. Yes. Finally, lots of energy. Energy is really great. Novant Collider facility, often shortened to the Novant Collider, is a technological phenomenon that is built in the highest tier cities of the Nova Alliance. Coupled with the other experimental buildings, the Novant Collider is one of the twisting cogs in Nova's experimental cycle. Atomic and nuclear experiments are mainly conducted here, with only the most advanced and high-quality environments to do so. The Novant Collider facility is the place responsible for the innovation of ion weaponry around 22 years ago. The facility has enabled more durable and efficient shield technology as well. New ideas for weaponry or for other technical uses such as mining lasers are always thought up and experimented in this facility, which has allowed for lots of innovation in Nova's way of life. The place offers plenty of tours and showcases every day, so every citizen gets to look at the most revolutionary inventions. Some of these go by the names of the remoleculizer, which can reshape steak into an apple. Well, that's really overpowered. The mug shield. Oh, I see where we're going with this. The mug shield, which keeps your drink in a mug until you push a button. Okay. Wait, I don't see how that's revolutionary. Keeps your drink in a mug. Isn't that just a normal mug? Takes a sip. The Insta Tattoo, which gives you a permanent tattoo without pain or hassle. Absolutely revolutionary, I guess. I'm not quite sure. The Portal, because portals aren't portable enough, I guess, which is a portal device stored inside a paintball that you can deploy at any time. Wow. And that's just a few things that have been crafted up inside these facilities. Novant's main feature is being a particle accelerator, and so of course is going to be smashing stuff together. That's how the Gravitor was born. Particles coupled with extreme pressure and speed equals a mini but stable black hole. The Gravitor is powerful enough to rip and tear through anything that goes past its event horizon, perfect for giving an unsuspecting island a severe beating. With that, Novant Collider facility is one of Nova's most prized scientific beings, and it'll continue to be a place of innovation and usefulness for a very long time. Very, very nice. I'm giving you 2 points for this. I like the Novant Collider facility. At first, when I thought of it, I thought it was more reactor, much like the Strike's Riffiali. Am I saying that right? It's called the... No, it's... Yeah, it's the Raffiali. I'm gonna have to remember that one, because that's one I really like as well. Novant Collider, very important to the Nova. I mean, it's in the name as well. None of this makes sense. Nothing there is connected to how a particle accelerator works. Exactly. It's great. That's also a good point. None of that. How does a particle accelerator have anything to do with all of those? That does leave some questions to be asked. Like, how is like a scientist working on a particle accelerator somehow came up with an Insta tattoo? That's questionable as the high quality. I mean, that's questionable as the advanced staff. Their priorities were an Insta tattoo. Good point there. Good point there. That's why you slap facility on it. Yeah, I guess so. That's why you slap facility on anything. The Yarngor Pillar. Okay. The Yarngor Pillar is one of the 3 Great Magnetic Mountains. I like the Great Magnetic Mountains already. The Yarngor Pillar is around 20 kilometers in height, 100 meters in diameter at its thickest, so really tall, with a slight taper towards both tips. Oh, I think I know exactly what you're going for. I think I know what you're looking. I think I get what you're looking at. The Yarngor Pillar. Okay, got it. It's a dark gray with a rocky surface that seems slightly metallic. From the top to the bottom and face are completely smooth as if cut out by a pillar hauled by a gargantuan saw, where it gets its name from. It moves very slightly around each other, but nothing major, and anything in its way is simply push. Many have speculated what the Great Magnetic Mountains are made of, but it's all unproven since it's impossible to take a sample. Just like the other Great Magnetic Mountains, it's impossible to even scratch. Speaking of them, there are some interesting characteristics they all share. For one, they attract storms. The Yarngor Pillar is topped by a massive storm cloud all year round that produces lightning stronger than anywhere else, wind blades that can carve stone in rain, and that tears leaves from trees. These disasters are also a reason no one ever dared to build something atop the pillar. These magnetic mountains, as well as storm clouds, are often used as the pole for navigation due to their notable size, even at a distance. Another notable feature is that another of the magnetic mountains actually has a scar on it. No one knows what put it there, but since not even the most advanced technology or pure Ludicrum blades are unable to scratch the mountains, it must have been something of unimaginable might. I like it. I think I have an idea for your pillars, and I think when I work on art and put art into the game and background environments, I feel like your pillars will make it in as well. I think 3 of them would look really good in the background. I think so. I think I like this one a lot. I'm gonna give this one 2. I have a very good idea of what I can do with these, and definitely, you know what? I'm giving this one a 2. That's right. Is there any way to get information? Not quite sure what you're talking about. Strike battery number 4. Okay, that was strike, right? Yes, double checking. That's strike. Strike battery number 4. Okay, a giant floating island which has a couple naturally floating islands and are weaponized by adding massive engines to use as thrust. These are meant to be pushed into other islands. Okay, these are meant to be pushed to other islands around 200 meters per second. They're often single use and meant as a last stand. If strike were to be in grave danger, you can find around 6 islands have been readily weaponized. You can see 2 in the massive shipyard under construction. Even though I would love to hear about this massive shipyard that is constructing islands. On the other island, maybe we'll see that sometime. On the other side of the main island contains a big research lab with some facilities for the occupiers of said island. It doubles as a fort and a weapons storage facility. Said buildings are meant to keep traffic high, so this location is always filled with people coming in and out. Also, a fort, and strike puts the stored weapons to use by testing them as islands, as chosen weapons to shape them. I see. So basically, they're a giant testing dummy, and in order to make them like more streamlined, they just shoot their stuff at it. Cool. Not quite sure you'd want to put any civilian islands anywhere nearby, especially if this is probably near weapons facilities. You want to keep those well out of the way of your civil areas. Sometimes Strike will go out on and search for an island sometimes Strike will go on a search for an island suitable weaponization. It's easy to know when it happens due to the big islands with big hooks that are launched at chosen island, then they bring it back to the specific location. The process takes years to finish due to the size of the islands being transported. You may ask, why is this location not secretive? The answer, how do you keep the location of large land masses quiet? So Strike went overkill. Okay, so pretty much Strike haven't found a way to conceal any of their bases. So they just decide, why not show off our bases? Okay, cool. What a waste of islands. Possibly, yes, a waste of islands. But, I mean, it does give them an accurate testing ground. Because if you never fire weapons at an actual island, you never really know how it works. I mean, you never really know their impact. Right. Another question, why is it named number 4? Well, simply because the main island had to be changed due to problems with weight. Facilities were always convenient. Some other islands that were used for this purpose. Okay, I see. Cool. I'm giving this one a 1. I'm giving this one a 1. Actually, you know what? I'm giving this a 2. Yeah, that deserves more than 1. It's nice. Next one we have is the Challenger's Cavern. The Challenger's Cavern is the most dangerous things in Illah. It's huge, towering, winding cavern that stretches at a length of 45 miles. You know, all of these distances are probably subject to change, but I guess so. Islands are big. I'm not exactly sure how big they are. I guess, especially with the lore, I'm still trying to figure out what island sizes are. But I will. There seems to be islands that are really big, islands that are hundreds of kilometers large, which doesn't exactly fit in with the lore. A lot of the lore has created a lot of smaller islands, though. We'll have to see about that. We'll have to see if I need to change the lore a little bit, because it does make sense to have these larger islands, and islands are... The problem with the lore, what I've come up with, is that the larger islands have only come up in recent times, which definitely doesn't make for cool history at all. So I think I need to go back and change it. SMP is probably listening going, oh no, J-Wix is changing the lore again. Probably. We'll see. That's the reason why I don't share a lot of the lore, is because it changes constantly in my head. Legend says there's a Fountain of Youth, and okay, Fountain of Youth is probably a no-go. And a locket, it's a legend, so sure, legends can be legends. And a locket that holds eternal knowledge of anything you ask at the very end of the cavern. Sure. Only the most courageous few I feel like this is some sort of bait by pirates. They're like, oh, at this end of this Challenger's Cavern, there's a Fountain of Youth and a locket that holds eternal knowledge. And then they just bait you and destroy you on your way there. Only the most courageous few have tried to traverse the cavern, but nobody has succeeded because of the pirates. There have been many that have traveled as far as 2 miles into the cavern and have come back in 2 pieces because of the pirates. There's all kinds of insane creatures inside the Challenger's Cavern, like the pirates. And individuals have traveled a couple miles and report they saw life-sucking shadow people, like pirates, rabid ebers, like pirates, bats on fire, hired by the pirates, and sentient katanas? Used by pirates. All of this screams pirates. I like it. Nobody could ever imagine what could be 44 miles deep. Being in the midst of such an environment could be a problem because of pirates. Other anomalies. Some things observed about the cavern are that it has completely random smells at the entrance every 5 days. That's a very strange number, and that's a very strange property. It could have the smell of alcohol, sugar, vomit, or no smell at all. Rather strange indeed. People have shot and thrown different kinds of weaponry down there with different effects. You could pull a pin off a grenade, throw it down there, and absolutely nothing would happen. No sound, no shockwave. Someone shot a cannon into it once, and 2 minutes later, it came out of the cave exactly where it went in. A lot of people think this is some work of the crafty creatures. Overall, the Challenger's Cavern is an unexplainable place inside of Illah. There's a lot of unexplainable places inside of Illah. People have speculated that the Celestials want to poke fun at the universe, or that there's a secret society of pirates deep inside the cavern. Nobody will ever know for sure, though. The Challenger's Cavern will forever be mysterious. I like the mystery about this. And so I'm giving this a 2. The mystery is cool, even though, you know, oh well, you're not Strike. I believe Strike was the one who mentioned the shipyard. Yes. So I'm still looking forward to seeing that massive shipyard that keeps getting referenced. The shipyard that I believe there's a story about this guy who got sent off to a shipyard to construct some islands and stuff. That shipyard. Yes, but I like this one. I like this one quite a bit. Haha, pirates go burr. Yeah, pirates. I mean, all of this just screams pirates. I mean, it's like setting up a giant bait where some grand prize that doesn't exist, and then the challenge invites even more challenge as you pick off people who try, and I mean, you just have to make sure there are no survivors. It doesn't scream pirates, you gotta be kidding me. Something like this doesn't scream pirates? Okay, sure. Next one we have by Ralper, the Meadow Plains of Tarkas. Ooh, I like this. Peaceful. The Tarkas Meadow Plains are the most peaceful, yes, very much peaceful, of the entire Illah. The weather's always sunny with a subtle fresh breeze. The flower fragrance is present the whole year, accompanied by the green soft mantle of the green grass that resemble a Swarlop fur. Swarlops. Mention Swarlops, bonus points there. The background lakes of fresh water reflect the clouds in the sky and refract the colors of the colorful fish that inhabit this place. Cute creatures hide in the berry bushes, jumping to every so often to nuzzling and asking for affection. The days are longer and the nights of warmth by the company of these cute creatures. Flowers cover one side of the landscape in a rainbow fashion of fresh waves and color, and its atmosphere is pleasurably dazzling. Wow, some very descriptive words. The plains are bordered by a wall of young cherry trees and small bushes, by a hill where the sun sets in the middle of a mix of calm orange warmth and intense red clouds, leaving the soft dark blue sky of the night. Very, very, this is getting points for description. I love it. I love it. The bird sounds are very relaxing and relieving, full of happiness and euphoria. I think you mean euphoria here. The place of creation, this is a place of creation the Strike faction made next to the city of Tarkas. Within 3 by 5 kilometers is a new prison concept being used where people feel so well inside they don't feel willed to ever leave the place. While when people are released from this place, their personalities aren't the same. They don't know how to deal with the brutality of reality and end up making unrational and stupid decisions. Once you choose this path, there isn't to turn back. And you, would you willingly enter this place, or would you prefer to take a life of responsibilities and pain? Ooh. This is cool. I also like Strike's take on this, that basically there's so much happiness that they send, that it's a new prison concept. It's like, okay, we'll send the worst of the worst there and just make them happy. There. Very nice. Very nice. The descriptions that you have for this place are absolutely beautiful. For that reason, I'm giving you a 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm giving you a 3 for that. It is absolutely lovely. I like it. I love your description there. Very, very well written. Good job. Next up, we have the Maelstrom Fields. Wait, I thought they're Maelstrom Storms. Were they storms or oh, maybe they were fields. And the Far Reaches. Ooh, I like this. I like how this is shaping up. The Maelstrom Fields take the shape of a tall, hollow cylinder with walls 30 kilometers thick and the inner diameter being around 75 kilometers. The cylinder stretches from the Cortex up to the outermost parts of the atmosphere. Its center is where our world, we have Bermuda. Oh, you're talking about like the Bermuda Triangle, where like ships go missing and stuff like that. I believe so. Once someone enters the field, there's no telling if they're alive or dead. Any attempts of communication have failed due to intense storms, and any attempts exit from the inside have failed. These fields are also extremely deadly to enter. It's a class 5 winds. I love that. You have classifications of winds. Masses of water so large that maelstroms form, flying debris made from shattered islands, some even being the size of skyscrapers that tear craft and other islands apart. Maybe the problem could live here as well. The giant shark. Problems. Oh, yep, there we go. Wow, problems that could suck you up. Wait, is that the same? Are we referring to the same problem here? Possibly. Problems that could suck you up in deadly thunderstorms. The far reaches are encompassed by the maelstrom fields, and not much is known about them, just that they're there. Some have said that they've seen massive creatures swimming in the fields. Problems. But nobody believes them. Some people believe that problems have been enticed there to protect an ancient civilization and created a cult to enter the fields and were never heard of again. Cool idea. And yes, I think problems, we really need to rename these problem dudes. These problems, I mean, we're just calling them problems even though they're so much worse. I mean, it's, if you face one of those, you don't have a problem on your hand. You've got a nightmare catastrophe of goodbye, say goodbye to your loved ones, and that's it. Problems are a cool name. At least we could alter the name problem then. Like shuffle around some of the letters, maybe call them, I don't know, probe. I don't know. I can't think of anything right now. I'm gonna give this one. I think I'm giving this one a 1. It expands on the maelstrom fields a little bit, which is great. Yeah. I need to read chat because there's a bunch of stuff coming. Could you create a new channel in Discord called a shop list, which contains all of the buyable items in the live stream? I could. However, actually, I was going to put a list of all the items in the Google Doc. However, I haven't exactly worked on the live stream in a live stream overlay in a bit, and I haven't done that. You know, I think it's more fun if you have to look at them and figure out which ones you want. And yeah, I think it's more fun that way as well. Also, yeah, I mean, there's an ID list that I was going to make, but I think it's more fun having to explore. With all these deadly unanswerable places, it sounds like Nova's trying to destroy Illah. Yeah, it does sound like Nova's trying to destroy Illah. Like, every single one is a giant... I mean, there's a giant fog that kills things. There's a Challenger's Cavern. There's... Okay, where's Nova? The Novant Collider facility, which could destroy everyone. Oh, the fog wall was strike. But yeah, there's a lot of... There seems to be a lot of strange, unknown things that just... kill you. It's like, oh, don't do this. Why? You die. Or don't go into the giant fog. Why? You die. Pretty much. Swarlop Island. Okay, you're right. The Swarlop Island doesn't kill you. Maybe you die of cuteness. It did say you die of cuteness though, so maybe Nova is trying to take over Illah. Let's see. Okay, I think that's, yeah. So next one we have is the Vertical City. Ooh, Vertical City. Vertical City of Hastrican. I need to scroll up because you can't read that. The Vertical City of Haskron. Haskron is located in a tall island. You know what I can do? I don't have to have this problem. I can just do that. There we go. Vertical City of Haskron. That way, whatever I see at the top, you see at the top. Now I'm just framing you. No, I'm not. I'm just messing with you. The Swarlop Island doesn't kill people. The Vertical City of Haskron. I've said that like 5 times. Haskron is located in a tall island with an enchanted geyser on the top that perpetually shoots out water, creating a huge lake surrounded by a waterfall circle. Okay. So it's an island with a geyser. Okay, got it. The island, it's like a water shield. Water update. That's a cool idea. A water shield. The geyser was enchanted by an ancient druid that used to live in the island when it was an arid desert turning into a lake. The city was built into this water mantle as if it was flowing in a vertical ocean. The waterfall reflects the water like a mirror with houses emerging from it. The city attracts tourists from all around Illah, not only because it's fresh water, but also because of the delicious fish caught in the lake on top of the island. Excuse me. Haskron is currently under the control of the Dark Order, and they use to make discount during the month of July in the island spa, where you can also take a bath directly from the waterfall. Okay. The Dark Order took control of the city after paying a commission to the Druid for the land and its cultural profit. Okay. The island of Haskron is also used to help water Dark Order's farming islands when they need. 30 years ago, there's a drought in the island. Okay. I guess there's a lot of lore times going on here, but 30, I guess we can resolve those eventually. 30 years ago, there's a drought in the island that made half the waterfalls to stop flowing, generating an economic crisis that caused some people and creatures to leave the island. Today, the effects of the crisis aren't too noticeable. The locals still remember the bad times. Yeah, I guess writing about the Dark Order kind of works as well. It's a cool idea. Even though I just thought of something, right? If we do have water flowing off of islands, and they're constantly flowing out, where does the water come from? Like, islands can't just be spewing out water all the time. Maybe it rains, possibly? And that rain supplies a lot of... Wow, rains are going to be absolutely terrifying. Okay, possibly rain is probably going to be a terrifying, windy, watery nightmare to have to deal with. It has to, like, replenish... It has to fill up islands full of water or something. Whatever. It's a cool idea. I'm giving this one a 1. It's a nice idea. I like the water on top of it as well. Next one we have are the Walls of Kema. Kema. I'm calling this Kema. I need some water, speaking of water. Oh. There is no trading. Yeah, no, there's no trading. Yet, nope, never trading. Kema is a very small city that, due to some territorial divisions made between the faction, was divided by 3 tall and thick brick walls. Each side of the... Okay, this is, what's that place? Berlin. I'm thinking Berlin. With the Great Berlin Wall. Each side of the walls is barriered by even taller towers, making the island also one of the most populated. The hostility between the 3 factions and the proximity make this place one of the most tense places in the universe. Doubtful, but I'll take it. Islanders fought for thousands of years trying to build the tallest tower on the island. Oh, that's hilarious. And now they have towers. So it's just an island. There's a bunch of towers and skyscrapers. The city is known by its telecommunication services. Every faction shares the great antenna on top of the towers in the center of the walls in its intersection, and it's responsible to establish a connection with all the islands around Illah. Now, actually, this reminds me of a game theory video I just watched, which it's a pretty good video about how to overthrow a dictator and how communication is really key in order to spreading misinformation or spreading information, stuff like that. So I would assume the factions are very much fighting for this giant radio tower in the middle. Every year, a ping pong event is organized on the rooftop of the towers. The ping pong table is hexagonal with a net dividing the 3 zones. The winner of this event has the honor to raise the flag of this faction in the antenna for the rest of the year. Wow. Okay, now what usually happens is the reason we don't settle wars over a game of like soccer is because whoever wins, the other factions or the other parties aren't going to be very happy. Like, whoever wins the ping pong, whoever wins this, the other factions aren't going to be too happy about it. And so what they'll end up doing is war breaks out, and you basically fight, and there's, like, the ping pong table doesn't even matter much. But I assume the other factions be very much unhappy that that faction's flag gets to be held up for the entire year. And I assume very much nobody likes that tradition. But yeah. Yeah, the citizens throw illegally sacks of paint over the faction walls. I'm getting Monty Python vibes, except instead of like dead animals, it's illegal. It's sacks of paint. Oh, as a gesture of disapproval and displeasement. Most of the times, the city ends up in a flood of paint, so it's Splatoon. Wow, this is a giant mix of a lot of stuff. It's Splatoon with a radio tower, with a ping pong table, plus Berlin. Well, it's certainly a place of disapproval and displeasement for everyone living there. The islanders of Kema live their days in constant armed peace, ready to explode, ready for a faction war. I'm surprised they haven't... Oh, that's right. It's not called... I'm surprised they haven't already gone to war already. It seems like one of them... It seems like... I don't know how they keep the peace, because if I was any one of those factions, the easy way out of it, if it's such a key and crucial position... If it's not a key and crucial position, then why keep anyone there? Just evacuate. If it is such a key and crucial position, then you just secretly have an island full of reinforcements come in and blow the other 2 areas out of the sky. Or evacuate your guys and just blow everything out of the sky. It's gonna take a long time to make it. Not quite sure what sentence that was about, but yeah, there's a lot going on here. I like the crazy part of it. So I'm giving this one 2. I'm giving this one 2 just because it's crazy, but there's a lot of potential. What happens at Kima can very much be the staging ground for a lot of hate between factions. Certainly a lot. Okay, next up we have I'm not quite sure how much more I can do. Oh, it doesn't look like I've got a lot more. Oh no. Okay, it looks like we've only got like 4 more. And we've been going for an hour-ish. The Tempest. The Tempest sits directly opposite of the Maelstrom fields, not to be confused with the new in-game Tempest weapon, I guess. The Tempest area covers 75 kilometers in diameter, although the Tempest size itself is variable. Located in the far reaches of the open sea, between a well-known trade and travel route, people tend to avoid this area because of its dangers. Although some have used the Tempest as a means of a shortcut or escaping other islands, the Tempests range from blue to purple to black. Rarer white, the Tempests are formed like cyclones from the Cortex, however they usually only reach the deeper realms. The Tempests quickly disappear as quickly as they appear. They are a sudden disturbance, drawing objects and islands into them, often swallowing up anything that's in the area. Connection to the outside world can be made, however there'd be great interference. The giant storms have winds, even deadlier than the Maelstrom, as they shred apart items that are not heavily reinforced together, as well as Thunderbolts, which disintegrates any object that it touches, setting them alight. It is believed that these Tempests attract some mystical creatures to them. The lightning generated from the Tempests have the energy of another kind, very different energy in islands. Most creatures observe glow as if they're releasing into the air. There's an island that resides in the center of the Tempest. Although it seems to be protected with some sort of warding, no signs of civilization are evident in the Tempest, only creatures. It's speculated that the Tempest could be caused from the energy of the Cortex or some other force. Yes, I was gonna say again with Nova trying to destroy Illah. That's what I thought. When I'm reading this, I'm like, did Nova write this? Yep, this is another one of Nova's attempts to destroy Illah. You see, actually, I think Nova have this thing where they absolutely love discovery to the point where they're dangerously close to not caring what happens to Illah. It's very, very dangerous how many giant nightmares they come up with for the rest of the factions to deal with. Because they're not the only ones who are going to have to deal with these Tempests. The other factions are going to have to deal with it as well. How big is Illah? How small are the islands? Yes. Next one. The Taurus of Myths. Another random and unknown place is said to hold the souls of creatures that it swallows. Nova. Seeing a little bit of a trend here. I assume there's going to be some other trend with, yeah, Nova likes discovery. And they also like absolute destruction, it seems. I mean, Nova blows stuff up. I don't see a problem with that. There's an explanation. Oh, okay. An explanation for the seemingly random and unknown place. The Taurus used to be one of the largest Nova laboratories, filled to the brim with unseen wonders, and it turns out the other factions wanted them seen. In a freak accident, some of the creatures that were being tested started to mutate rapidly and started growing. They couldn't fight back as a strange mist rose off the creature's body that would shut down the organs of the unlucky scientists, knocking them down in a long, painful death. Those lucky enough to escape somehow disappeared by unknown cause except one. Orion Kenloft. I like that name. Orion Kenloft. The lead scientist at the facility was able to escape and jump between islands in hiding. Not much is known about the man, but said that the island is now formed with creatures floating, seeking revenge for their creator. The island grows with each creature it engulfs, allowing it to get massive. Nobody knows how it moves, but it's coming to hear the horrid screams of 1,000 creatures dying, cursed to live forever in infinite pain. It's also donut-shaped. I kind of got that from the Taurus, the word Taurus. Wow. Nova really out here to really make everyone's life miserable with all of their absolute terrors that they are creating. It's a cool terror, though. It's a cool terror. Nova ain't developing lasers. They're clearly developing knives with all that edge. Yeah, I guess boom booms are your territory, SMP. Believe me, I prefer less death and suffering in places like Illah, but some of these people, yeah, I would think Illah would have a little bit less death and destruction and terror, But so far, it seems we've got giant sharks, we've got maelstrom fields, we have gas that kind of turns everyone, makes them, and destroys things. There's a lot that kills you. And yeah. There's also Swarlop Island, which I still like that a lot. Next up, we have the Forest of the Bloodied Archhunter. Okay, this is I was about to think that this was Nova, but no. It's the Forest of the Bloodied Archhunter, or as many may know it, the Forest of Blood. Ooh, I'm sensing a lot of history behind here. Is a huge roofed forest deep within the territory of the most secretive strike factions. Ooh, the Lucoravians. Lucoravians. I'm just going to call them that. That's cool. The Forest of Blood is most infamous for its unforgiving fauna and flora, as well as the crimson red leaves of all the plants that grow here. The forest has a total area of a few dozen square kilometers, much of which, especially towards the center, has yet to be explored. The air under the roofs of the forest is very humid. Many describe it as almost being wet to the touch, as well as uncomfortably and unnaturally warm compared to the surrounding biomes. The trees are unusually tough, making cutting them down to move forward not an option, and the springy yet tough shrubbery makes traversal ever more difficult. Due to the nature of the forest, even at noon it's only dimly lit, and the screeching of the fauna makes for an eerie atmosphere at all times. Most berries and fruit are inedible, especially raw, leaving only some forests. Even at noon, it's only only leaving some roots as food for explorers. The ponds and rivers that are found in the forest are inhabited by nasty insects and small predatory fish that jumps out of the water to catch prey that move above. Ooh. So it's like a salmon piranha, because like salmon like jump out of the water to move. It's like a piranha because it eats stuff. A salmon piranha. That sounds like a cool creature. Do we have? I don't think we have one of those creatures. Many of the plants are toxic and therefore inedible. One-of-a-kind tree secretes a toxic sap that results in hallucinations and psychosis. At night, many of the forest's stalking predators are on the hunt, making safe travel impossible. The atmosphere, lack of sunlight and sleep, the poisonous flora drown any intruder in a deep crimson purgatory. I'm just remembering that I'm not sure if I have given points to the past few submissions, because I don't recall looking down on my notebook for the past few submissions, which I will go back and I will double check to make sure everyone is getting their submissions. Everyone's getting points for this, yeah. Anyway, back to this. The identity of the forest visuals, as well as the lack of any landmarks, makes retreat often even more difficult than going into the forest. This is what gives the forest its horrifying name, as well as the legendary individual who's supposed to live at the heart of the forest. Any victims that got found looked tattered and ripped and stripped of almost all belongings. Interesting. I'm giving this one, let's see. I think I'm gonna give this one 1 point. Unknown factor, I'm really not a huge fan of all of these unknown factors. Some of them are better, but in general, a lot of these unknown, strange, not sure what's going on, mystical, dark areas, not quite a big fan of. Even though they are pretty interesting, but not a huge fan of them. Again, I didn't exactly say that, but yeah. It's a decent submission. It's getting points. Next one we have, our last submission for the night, is the Forgotten Graveyard. Located on a large, lifeless island, the graveyard appears to be the aftermath of an ancient battle. The graveyard consists of 10,000 humanoid statues, as well as numerous tents and mounts. Each statue holds some sort of weapon. Oh, I'm getting Genghis Khan's grave vibes from this. Each statue holds some sort of weapon and may have different forms of armor. The statues seem to be laid out as if there are two different sides, which a portion of them meeting partway through a brawl. One side of the field is a battlefield. There's a shallow-ish crater with a shattered obelisk in the middle of it. On the opposite side of the battlefield, the statues seem to be recoiling in fear, with their eyes looking towards the top pillar B. The armies, made up of men and women leading up to archaeologists, think that the civilization had equality between the genders. Later thought to be because of the limited amount of soldiers. For decades, it was discovered there's no explanation for these statues until a book was found written in similar runes to the Kyvian Runes. The book was translated and found to be a diary recounting things that happened after a devastating civil war decimated the population. Wow, that's a lot of history. The book also talked of a devastating new weapon that was to be used for the first time during the planned battle, as it appeared both sides were running out of manpower and sustainable food sources. The farms had shut down to both, and battles being fought on them. Farmers already being drafted into the armies. The book states that the war started because of a new devastating type of technology was discovered, which two opposing opinions on which it was ethical or not. The book also states that the people against the technology decided to use it as a last-ditch effort to win the war. Whoa! That's interesting. The people who are against it decided to use it as a last-ditch effort to win the war. That is okay. That's some sort of rubbish. I mean, the people who didn't think it was ethical were like, you know what? It's only ethical if we get to use it. Pretty much. That's a very interesting. Even though lore-wise, it's not quite fitting with what I had in mind. I really need to elaborate more on the lore in the Google Doc for you all to build off of as well. And give more spaces for things, for like blank spaces and things that happen, giant periods. Yeah, I'm gonna give this one 1 point for this one. Yeah, but I think that's going to do it for the time being. There's some really cool submissions. But yeah, that sums up modern politics well. That's a very interesting way of putting it. Pretty much, it's only ethical if I get to do it. Yeah, wars are only okay if I'm the one winning it. If I'm not winning, then yeah, no, you guys are awful. Yeah, that's gonna be it for today's stream. I will have the next one queued up. It's going to be tomorrow at exactly the same time. So pretty much 23 hours from now. And I'll pull up the shop towards the end. I'll pull up the shop right after this. There's some good submissions from this. I look forward to reading all of them as well. I will catch you all in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.
Dreaming.